In the next edition of It's About Money, my guest will be Emily Hart. She's the Director of Business Development at Sitting Inc. Yes, we're going to talk about sitting. Join us in the next edition of It's About Money. Hello and welcome to another edition of It's About Money. I'm Nannette Nocon and thank you for joining us. Our guest today is Emily Hart. She's the Director of Business Development at Sitting Inc., a company in Upstate New York. Today, she's here to talk about the business of sitting and be comfortable sitting, and she'll share more about the commercial chair company located right here in Western New York. Emily, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Nannette. Thanks for having me. Exciting to be here.
Yes. So tell us about Sitting Inc. and how you got started with the company.
Sure. So Seating Incorporated is a woman-owned chair manufacturer in Nannette, New York, which is about an hour outside of Rochester. We've been building chairs since 1989, and we're the best chair factory in the country. It's actually, my parents started this company when I was very young. So I was involved in the company, like I've grown up around it. And I became professionally involved with the company about 8 years ago after finishing my master's degree in business innovation in hopes to kind of bring that into it and see what we can do to expand the business and take it to the next level.
That's great. That's great. So how do you reach out? What customers do you serve? Do you do retail, wholesale?
Yeah, so we serve B2B for the most part, and we're going to be working oftentimes through contracts, so like state contracts or federal contracts, and we also sell commercially. So to anyone who needs chairs in their office, or to companies that, basically anyone that needs chairs that are working chairs for businesses, that's who we sell to.
I thought I got acquainted with your company during the pandemic when I saw my sister-in-law post a note on Facebook about people working from home, and if they need comfortable chairs, that they ought to reach out to your company. I thought, wow, that's pretty innovative. So, what the chairs are great. I mean, I tried them, and they're wonderful. They're comfortable, and when you're sitting all day long, especially for 1 out of 7 workers working remotely now, the chair has to be really comfortable so that the worker is not in pain from sitting all day long. What is the process of creating a chair? Like, what is the customization process look like for creating chairs and delivering that to the customer?
Yeah, so all of our chairs are built to order, which means we're not pulling anything off of a shelf. Nothing's stocked. So for us, built to order means it is the customization process. So anyone we work with, whether it's an individual that needs a chair, or usually we'll be working with businesses that need to outfit entire facilities, from the individual chairs that people are sitting in at their desks to, waiting room chairs, guest chairs, everything like that. And what we're trying to do when we customize the chairs is find out what the functionality is of the chairs. So what do they need the chairs to do? And then follow that up with how do they want the chairs to look? So it's very important that the chairs actually match the facility and the needs and the look of the facility and the business. And then once we put that together, that's what we're going to build. So that chair will be exactly made for that business to their specifications. So it's,
never knew that there were different kinds of chairs for very tall people and people who need a wider chair. I didn't realize that those customizations can exist, but what a cool thing. And when people are comfortable with their chairs, they can keep working. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, chairs, it supports the human body, so it's really important that it does that in the right way so that people can be focused on their work and so people can feel good after work that they're going and doing their other things and they don't end up with any sort of physical problems. And the way the chair is built has a lot to do with that.
Mm-hmm. Great. Now let's talk about your career, and you're the Director of Business Development. What does that mean? What are your responsibilities?
My main responsibility, especially this year, is to just let as many people as possible know that we exist. We are a manufacturing facility, so for quite a long time, we've been sort of behind levels of distribution that has kept us a little more quiet than I'd like us to be now. At this point, we want everyone to know that there's an exceptionally good chair manufacturer here outside of Rochester. So that's kind of the main thing that my goal is, to let as many people know that we're here as possible. Other than that, I work a lot with client relationships, finding clients who have similar value systems to us, who are looking for what we need, and matching that up so we can have a really good ongoing relationship. Because our chairs last, with most of our chairs have a lifetime warranty. So we're looking for long-time partnerships, long-time relationships, and that's pretty much what I'm in charge of developing.
Business development. That's great. And you were played a part in the company's sustainability initiatives. Tell us about how chairs can be green. What
Mm-hmm.
what makes a chair green?
Yeah, I mean, sustainability is really important, I think, for everyone, and especially nowadays, it's something that everyone at least is aware of, which is really exciting. Um, there's a few different elements that have to do with sustainability. Number one is people. It's really important that we're taking good care of our crew and that we have a team who feels good about their work here. So, managing just our wellness, health and wellness, safety of the crew, and making sure that the team really wants to continue to work here. That's a big part of sustainability. Most of our crew have been with us over 10 years, some even over 20, 25 years with us. So that's one of the most important things. Product development and how we actually build the chairs is a big part of it. So, what kind of component parts are going into the chairs, local sourcing, building chairs that last a really long time. These are not chairs that are meant to be used for 2 years and thrown in a landfill. These chairs are supposed to last, and at the end of their life, there are, disassembly instructions and stuff like that. So we really don't want these chairs creating any sort of negative impact in the environment. And then there's, energy usage, making sure that we're being efficient with our energy usage, water usage, and all of those kind of things that are really important to sustainability as well. And then, being a part of the community, thinking how we can give back, how we can be a meaningful contribution to our community, our local community of Nannette. And beyond that, being a great member of the business community in Western New York. And I think it's really exciting. I know women owned is it's a different thing than sustainability, but I think it plays into it. Women owned is more than a certification. I think it's a way of doing business that is nurturing both to the crew in our facility, and also how can we nurture and be a meaningful part of the community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I think having a local company is that we don't have the supply chain isn't as long. It doesn't have to be shipped. So there's some savings there, I think, with shipping.
Oh, yeah.
Then you don't have to bring the product so far away. There's
Mm-hmm.
been a move for repatriation, and that's actually worked out well, I think, with the pandemic, right? You didn't have to wait for the chairs to arrive from China, for example.
Yeah. I mean, this is a huge market. It's a very, we compete against global, billion-dollar level companies. A lot of companies do, bring in foreign products and stuff like that, which is totally fine. I'm for an international marketplace. But if, there are benefits to supporting local manufacturing that have to do with lead times, that have to do with supporting your local community and not having things having to ship, around the world and everything like that. So yeah.
From my vantage point, being green is also not having too many chairs. Like, I've been in business for almost 40 years, and when I've purchased chairs from my employees from my office many times, and it's because they don't last very long. So really, to be sustainable, you don't want to be piling up, trashing the chair, putting the chairs in the trash after only a handful of years. So having good quality chairs, I think, is good. Now, tell me about what
Yeah.
it means for your chairs to be level certified. What does that mean?
So level certification is a third-party certification that basically, it's a very extensive and in-depth process where a third party will actually come in, review and everything that we're doing in relation to kind of those elements I was mentioning, and basically ensure that we're doing everything up to what this BIFMA level standard is. So there's a set standard called the BIFMA level standard that basically they're just tracking to make sure that you are in fact hitting those measurements to certify that you are a green company in the furniture space. So it's kind of a furniture green certification.
I see. And that's not really necessary, right? But you do it because it's a standard that you have? Tell me a little.
Yeah, it's not necessary. It's something that we did sort of because there was all this buzz about sustainability. We didn't really change our practices in order to be level certified. It's really a matter of getting the paperwork together and having someone qualify that you're doing those things. Um, I hope it becomes and continues to become more important in the market. I'm kind of surprised often at how people don't look at that as much. But because we wanted to be ahead of that, we wanted to make sure that people understood that we are a green company. We went through with that certification quite a long time ago now. It's been many years that we've been certified.
Okay. So on a business model, let's talk about that. You said that you cater to be business to business, right? You sell to like a distributor, is that right? You sell to distributors and then they sell to retail.
Sometimes we sell to distributors. We also have the ability to sell to end users, like anyone who buys off of our New York State contract. Generally, the PO will come directly to Seating Incorporated. If they have someone working with them on that, they might be, involved as well in installation and stuff like that. So yeah, we can sell through distributors. We can sell directly if people want to work with us. Oftentimes an end user has like a dealer or something that they like working with, and they're welcome to do that. So we really give people a lot of options. We want to have all the doors open if people want to buy from Seating Inc., that they can do that in a way that that they're comfortable with and that they're happy with.
That's good. Yeah,
we're here to provide chairs for everyone who needs them.
I appreciate you giving me a glimpse into what happens in making a chair. How do you distribute it, because you can make a great product that's sustainable and so on, but you still have to sell it to make the business sustainable, right?
Absolutely.
To sell it. Now, one of the intriguing things that I mentioned earlier in our conversation is that 1 out of 7 individuals are working from home. Are you finding that companies are buying chairs for their employees, or is that the responsibility of the employee? I don't know if that's even a market that you'd got into, but I was just curious, with 1 out of 7 working from home, do they get the benefit of having good chairs that they used to have at the office, or do they have to work that out themselves?
I've seen a few different ways. We have had individuals who have a seating chair at their office and they're reaching out to us because they really want the same chair at home because they love the chair. We've had a few individuals whose businesses are giving them kind of a budget that they can spend on their home offices. And so they can kind of decide what they want to spend on what, but part of that would probably be a chair. And we don't hear so much about the people who don't have budgets for chairs from their companies, but yeah, we have seen a little bit of it, that people want to make sure that their home office also has, a commercial grade chair, because there's a big difference between a chair that's literally made to be worked at and to last for years over years, to something that, you might just buy more of like a temporary fix, or it looks cute or whatever, which is cool. And there's a place for every kind of chair, and but the people who really need a chair that's going to support them properly in their work will likely reach out to someone like us and say, I need something that's really going to support my body as I'm working, even from home.
Got it. Very good. Now, did you, many businesses going remote, did you find a disruption in your business when a pandemic happened?
We were disrupted for about a month there at the beginning, just because everyone was being sent home. And as a manufacturing facility, we have to work here. We're all at the factory. Building chairs. So it's a very physical workspace. So pretty quickly we were able to get our crew back, and we have a huge facility, about 77,000 square feet. So we're able to keep a lot of distance between us and not disrupt the production during all of that experience that was really disruptive. In terms of our actual sales and like our customers disruption, there was definitely a bit of a dip there for a while, especially for things like schools. We do a lot with like universities, and a lot of them were everyone was going remote there and things like that. But in terms of our actual business levels, they're kind of as high as they've ever been. So we weren't really disrupted in that sense. People still do need chairs. So it worked out okay.
Great. Well, thank you. Time just kind of slipped by, and I want to thank you, Emily Hart, for working with me here as my guest for About Money. Emily Hart is the Director of Business Development at Seating Inc. Thank you very much, Emily, and thank you to our guest for joining us today. It's About Money, and I'm Nannette Nocon. Until next time.